Started. Okay, I'm going to open with prayer real quick, and then we will get going. All right, dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just want to thank you for the opportunity we have to hop on and just chat together tonight. I thank you for just the opportunity with Plexus that you've given us to steward. I pray that you would help us to steward it with excellence. I pray you'd help us to break through the mindset issues that hold us back. I just thank you for everybody that's on, willing to learn and to just kind of work through blind spots even, or sometimes when we're on these things, we realize areas where we need to grow, or we need to, shift a few things or pivot a little bit. So I just pray for grace, for wisdom. I pray for those being coached tonight, as well as those listening in. And I just pray that you'd help us to just rise up to the potential that you have for us. I just thank you for everyone on. I thank you for the families represented. We just commit everybody to you. We thank you for the Christmas season. I thank you for the new year. I thank you for Leaders Retreat kicking off, and we just commit it all to you. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, so I thought I would pop on before we delve into coaching and just go over a couple of things. And Carissa, feel free to chime in on anything that I forget here. But I wanted to talk about a couple things at the end of the month. So Magic Week, all of us know this hopefully by now, that this is the week we make things happen. But as leaders, I do feel that it is important, just like we've been talking all month long about duplication. This is the hallmark of leadership. It's not just us doing the things, right? It's us leading our teams to do the things. So pop it in Messenger saying, hey, this wording is working for me. Hey, congratulations, do some shout outs. Really amp up this week on all the things. Recognition, things that are working, showing what you're doing. Jessica Huffley is really great at reminding us to show what we're doing, because a lot of people have no clue of what we're doing, all the things that we're doing, maybe not share everything you're doing, but pop in and be like, hey guys, here's a cute post. Look at, it's a great way to get interaction. Even giving post ideas, message ideas, recognition. Another thing that I have found that's been helpful, I think Kathleen's on. Is Kathleen on? Oh yeah, I see her. One thing that Kathleen and I have done, and I've done it with maybe a couple other people, but where she'll shout someone out to me in a three-way message and be like, hey Megan, I just wanted to shout out so-and-so because they're doing a la la la, and she'll shout them out for some thing that they're doing. And it's just interesting. She and I have seen people really rise up at the end of the month and be like, oh, that was so encouraged. They're encouraged to go do more. And sometimes it's me popping in and giving a couple of ideas. Sometimes, I don't know, it can look a different way. Sometimes with some three-way messages, I might help give some feedback on well, send me some of your message examples. Let me see if I can troubleshoot for you. Tell me what your interaction is like. Let's talk about your posts, some things like that, to just, like Carissa said, bringing attention to your upline for someone on your team. Yeah. So if you've never tried that before, that may be something you'd be like, someone that is close to going silver, maybe they're close, or maybe they're, in that no man's land, kind of they have, 5 or 6 people to go gold. Still totally doable, especially every day before the end of a month is a week. Each day counts, and it's a massive amount of time to make some stuff happen. So never discount the fact that, oh man, so-and-so's 5 people away from whatever rank they're gonna, some of the lower ranks, they can still hit that. Sometimes they just need the belief, the encouragement, and some good ideas, right? So those are a couple of things that I do at the end of a month to just light some fires, to or stoke some fires, right? Sometimes those little embers are burning, but they could do more if they have some ideas, some encouragement. You never know how much your presence in a chat thread can massively encourage someone to go take more action. And so if you feel like you're lacking in any one of those areas, I would just encourage you to just get some different activity, some more activity going. Maybe it's you already are doing those things, but to really double down on that, really double down on recognition, really shout some people out. Maybe do I've been doing a hashtag post on point for my team page, and just share a post from Facebook, like maybe it's a new ambassador or someone that's really doing a great job on posting, to shout that person out for doing a great post, but also it will hopefully spark other ideas for people on your team to make good posts like that, or take an idea, or to help build belief on the new people that are joining in and they see, oh wow, look at her testimony, that's really awesome. So it's like a multifaceted, shout out when we do some recognition, even on praising people for taking certain activities. So let me look at my list really quick to make sure I didn't forget. One thing I was going to mention is at the end of this month, a lot of us are doing that 100-person reach out. If you have leaders retreat goals, you have rank up goals, well, really all of us as leaders should do that with our teams. I was mentioning something to Justin about like, everybody's doing this with their teams, we should do it too. And he's like, well, are you going to do it? I'm like, well, yeah, I don't know that and I was kind of him-hawing. He's like, well, if you're telling your team to do it, you need to do it too. I'm like, yeah, I know. And always when I'm in personal momentum, my team follows suit. It's like something that happens. I think it's also that we're more we're more relatable, and we're in the trenches with our team. Like, hey, this message is working. Hey, so keep that in mind. Another thing that is a good just reminder, I'm going to throw it out there, is who have you chatted with this month that had someone that they were going to help? I just remembered my friend Carrie. I got a note from her because we did a little project broadcast Merry Christmas to like all level ones. And I got a message back from her, and she was just like, oh, thanks for having us over, right? I remembered after she visited us like a week and a half ago that she had texted me about her mom getting started on Plexus. And it reminded me to follow back up with her. And that's one thing that duplicators do, is they're not just concerned about their level one, like adding level ones, which yes, that's a priority, right? But also, who are you helping to duplicate? So like swing back to your carries that have their mom on the line but haven't actually signed them. Right, today I had a call with a potential for a level 3. Actually, she was under my reentry, but it was her third person to go silver. So I got her signed up actually for her. And so it's okay to help your people by hopping on the phone. I mean, my level 2 was not on the phone with me, but I was on the phone with her person. And then I had a call right after that for another person's person. But those are the types of things that you want to be making sure that you're doing consistently, because those are things that are going to get the duplication moving. So girls, do you have anything that you want to chime in on end of month things that you're working on, or some leader to retreat encouragements, anything like that?
Real quick, can you let Cassie in from the waiting room?
Oh, whoops.
No problem.
Well, I just want to shout out my 3 gals who are on here have all earned leaders, and I think a little beyond. And so I just had to quick say that because I'm so proud of them. Bethany, Danette, Iris.
Congratulations, girls. That is awesome. Who else has earned Leaders Retreat? Pop it in the comments or wave your hand or something. Or if you're close, put your numbers in the chat too, because we're here to cheer each other on and encourage each other. Lisa Winters, I don't see her on yet, but she just earned it like 10 minutes ago by adding level 1s. Her team's rocking, but she just needed to get that personal recruitment, and so excited for that. Yay, Gretchen is at 6:15. Hooray. All right. Okay, anything else? Anybody else wants to chime in real quick? If not, I will turn it back over. Brenda, are you game? Are you taking it from here? Question asking wise?
Yes, I think so. I was just trying to follow what you were covering, and then I'm still switching gears from the other Zoom I was on. So you can remind me if I need reminding. Megan's always so inspiring. Just a little bit, I was listening to her. All of a sudden my wheels are turning, and I have a couple things I already jotted down that I'm going to tackle that I kind of felt like giving up on. So Megan, you're magic. Love it. I hope you guys all felt the same with, what? We still have how many days left? We can do something with it. And if not for ourselves, for helping someone on our team. One thing I've been so blessed with is meeting with my leaders every week and just talking about some of those things that we can do, think it through. Sometimes there's something we forget and we need reminders of something that could be done at the end of the month. So I hope you guys have someone that you are doing that with too. So thanks, Megan, for sharing those ideas. Well, we get to do some coaching. I always kind of really look forward to this, and then last minute I'm like, what if I let them down? So it's just the real deal. We're here to help and support you. We don't have anything probably super new under the sun for you, but we're here to listen and try to help you. So we get to put somebody in the hot seat whose name is Angie. Are you ready, girl? Okay, I'll have to help you with that when I'm done. I'm just ready to get on with this. Okay. All right, somebody's having an exciting birthday tomorrow. Okay, my youngest is turning 10. Okay, back to Angie. I want to hear kind of where you're at with your business right now. I know we often start this with what were some wins, what are some struggles, but I hear you're just an amazing leader and recruiter and all that. So tell us how it's going.
Wow. Well, thank you. What an opening. Thanks. Well, the truth is I can recruit people all day long, but I have a hard time hanging on to them for some reason. I sign a lot of wholesalers, and I don't know if my lack is in the follow-up, or sometimes I feel like, a lot of my people don't want the business. They only want the products. And so that kind of holds me back. And I feel like there's something missing there that I'm not hanging on to. And as I was listening to what Megan said about just following back with that, like the mom or the sister or whatever, I just sign the people, and then I don't know, like some of them stay on as wholesalers, and some of them, they're kind of one and done, or two and done or something. And it's kind of frustrating. And I just want to say, I don't want to be in the same spot next year in December. I'm super grateful for where I am almost 7 years in. Because prior to that, I was homeschooling and raising babies and bringing in $0. And now I have awesome income that I'm very grateful for. But I want it to seem, I know if it's possible for me, it's possible for people on my team. And I want to help them see and catch that vision. And I don't want to, I'm not discouraged, but I want to move forward. And I'm all ears to hear any of the encouragement, or maybe you should change this up or whatever. Like, I'm ready for it. Okay. I've been preparing for it all week long.
Great. So I'm assuming you don't struggle with outside leg points. You're very wide. Okay. Do you know your ratio or your percentage of silvers and up in your level ones?
I do not.
Okay. That's something that's a really good exercise to do for anyone. Go count your level ones, count how many are silver and up, and you should be in the 20% range.
Okay.
Less than that, 18, 20, 15 probably isn't too bad. You want to at least be 20 or more to know that you have good strength in keeping people that are going to stay with you, level ones that are going to stay with you, or keep growing beyond. So that would be something to look at. And that often says a lot about, what you are doing for duplication. My next question for you is, what does it look like when you bring someone on? What is your onboarding when they become an ambassador? What do you actually walk them through?
Well, I feel like in my mind, when Megan and I talk about it, I always feel like I don't really have an onboarding plan, but apparently I do. It's just not, I guess, written in stone, so to speak. But once I get them started, and even before their products arrive, I'm talking to them about the referral bonus, getting their 3 people, helping them stay consistent. I do the follow-up every week with them for the first 4 weeks to keep them, hopefully to keep them consistent. And then I feel like once they tell me, oh, I don't really have anyone, I don't want to do that or whatever, it kind of shuts me down. And even when I was coaching on a call today, and I was telling the ambassador, well, it's okay. Even if they tell you they don't want to work the business, like, I know what to tell them. It's just that I think sometimes I don't do it because she said, well, what if she tells me she doesn't want the business? And I'm like, well, no problem. You don't have to work the business. There's 3 people you can get to be accountability partners, and you can get that referral bonus. You don't have to work the business. And maybe that's the wrong thing, because I remember for me, like, I was assured that I did not have to work the business. And then, of course, aren't we all working the business?
Right. Okay. So when I asked what it looks like, do you do most of this communication over the phone, messenger, voice messaging?
It's mainly voice messaging or texting.
Okay. So do you ever try to get someone on the phone in the beginning?
Sometimes, not as often as I know that I should.
You should,
I know I should. And 95% of people, I sign up myself. They send me their information. I know it's wrong. I know I should not do that. That is what I do.
Girl, there's a time and a place for it. But yeah, just your posture there says you're acknowledging. I think you're handicapping them a little bit by doing that, because they aren't investing the time and energy. Yeah. Okay, so the reason I asked that is because I have had the best success when I say even after they've joined. I mean, I love getting them on the phone for the joining process. That doesn't always work for them and me with our schedule. Like, when they're ready to join, I'm not going to say, oh, let's schedule a phone call to do this tomorrow. No, I'm giving them the stuff right now. But I do say, let's work out a time when I can get on the phone and explain some of the stuff that you have at your fingertips now. Whereas with an ambassador, it would have been straight to the dashboard in the virtual office, walk them
Right.
through. Now I can talk about the referral link or just the subscription. And there's so much I can show them about their account. That's what I use. But when I get them on the phone, there's just something about, we're having a conversation. I'm learning more about them. And this is when I ask some of those questions that might touch on their pain points. So if it doesn't work to get them on the phone, it can be done via messenger too, but that back and forth conversation is a great time where you can ask them questions. So one thing that, like you mentioned before, you're like, well, it's okay if you don't want to work the business. Rather than a response like that, have you tried saying, well, I just assumed you wouldn't mind some bonus money. Does that sound like something you're scared of, or you think you could, like to have? Actually, you can think of a better way to say it, but you know what I'm,
Mm-hmm.
like, assume that, oh, I thought you'd probably want some bonus money.
Yeah.
More of an assumption response to them. But this is one thing that has really worked well for me, is asking those questions about what amount of money right now could really give you guys a breather, for like that car payment, grocery money, just some extra spending money. Make them say a specific dollar amount. If you're, does that sound scary to you to think about talking numbers with somebody?
Well, some, yes, because I sign a lot of professional people they don't like, and this is my mindset, right? Like, they're very professional and they're already making, a grand living. And I'm thinking, oh, they don't need it. That kind of thing. I don't put them, that's just what I do. And then I'm like, well, they don't need the money, or, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
Everybody needs money, don't get me wrong, but I have I know I struggle with that. And that's one of the things I've talked about a lot, is I'm kind of in that place where I'm afraid to say about the money with a lot of the level ones that I personally sign up, because they're already very, kind of in a financial.
Okay. Do you feel like you have proof of that, or you're just assuming that?
Well, a lot of them proof. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know there are diamonds or Jules, whatever, who didn't really need the money,
Mhm.
joined for other reasons. So maybe there's, you can think of other pain points for them.
Mhm.
Maybe
How
just,
familiar are you with Callie Beal and her story?
I'm sorry, say it again.
How familiar are you with Callie Beal and her story?
Yes, I love Callie. I'm very familiar with her story. And I know. We actually talked about it somewhat she shared somewhat, and it resonated with me a lot with, when we were at that retreat with Jessica.
Oh yeah.
But it's an area I struggle with. Like, I do have a hard time with that.
Well, when you were talking, it immediately made me think of me, because Jessica would not have looked at me and said, Carissa needs the business.
Yeah.
So if she had decided for me that I didn't need the business, it is a lot of assumption. I loved your question, Brenda, where you said, do you feel like you have proof of that, or are you just assuming? I think that's a really powerful question, is what proof do I have? And I know you've been to a lot of Align retreats. And one thing Brooke has always said, and she's of course the same way, right? Did she need the money?
Yeah.
No. Did Thomas need the money? No. But she talks a lot about how powerful people need, maybe they need, like I honestly needed the outlet. Like I needed the professional outlet. That's what I needed. So I don't know, maybe being able to ask yourself some of those questions of like, what is their need? Income might not be their need, but maybe time is their need. Maybe creative outlet is their need. Maybe friends like this circle is their need.
Right.
Didn't mean to interject, or I kind of interrupted you, Brenda. Sorry.
no, you're fine. I just saw Bonnie hopped on when I missed that, but I'm glad to see her here. She was on the other Zoom that I was too. Another one that's around the leaders. Okay. Yes, that's where I'm going with this, is a little bit a thought of like, what else do they know about Plexus that could attract them? Like, what are you sharing about our culture, our trips, our, the shopping spree? I mean, I've heard of people who wanted to join just for those types of experiences because they didn't really want they didn't have the income pressure or desire, but just the fun. So this is where I guess I'm kind of coming back to, how well do you know your people? Are you really asking them questions, getting to know them, to find, maybe they're that blue that the fun part of this could really appeal.
Right. I totally agree.
Sounds like you're maybe a little intimidated by some of them.
I guess. I suppose so. It was just reminding me that on this coaching call I had today, the girl was, she was getting ready to have a call to sign up someone, because I told her, get her on the phone. Here, I'm telling her to do it. And she said, oh, I know she doesn't have the money. And I'm like, don't assume that she doesn't have the money for a 209 welcome pack. You tell her that's the best deal and that's what you offer her. And she called me back and she's like, you're so right. She wanted the 209. So it's like, I know, but why am I not doing it? And why am I feeling intimidated by people who are my friends? And I don't know.
It's easier to help someone else to be bold than to be bold yourself sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess just do it. Challenge yourself a little bit to just be a little more upfront with questions for these people. But meanwhile, if these are people who are seeing your posts, be what's the word I'm looking for? Creative with the various reasons to join Plexus, not just the products, not just the business, but some of the community, it takes creativity. So I don't know what I'm doing talking, because I'm always looking for ideas like to do this more, but a shot of a Zoom, or something that you find so valuable yourself, and maybe you especially found valuable in your first year, that got you excited and kept you excited. Make sure you're sharing that with your audience.
Well, thank you. I think, I hate to admit this, but I I think you hit it when you said, like, I feel intimidated by some of these people. And I guess that like it's still racing through my head. So I think there is a lot of truth to that. And I have to get beyond that.
Well, I can identify, and I think some things that I have done that helps me is I just remember, okay, are you sapphire? Or emerald? No. Emerald? Okay.
Emerald.
Girl, hold your head up high. Look what you've done. Like you can like show these people the way. Like I had to just see myself as the professional I've done this. I can show them how and not talk myself down like, they're kind of cool and they don't really need the money. Probably not quite my caliber. And then I would just be like, wait, whoa, I'm a diamond ambassador with Plexus.
Yeah.
I have everything really resource-wise, culture-wise, team-wise to offer them and try to hold my head up and speak to them from that place. So affirmations, there you go. I'm gonna start with that too.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. I felt like when just first talking to you the first 5 minutes, I want to say this. You have the posture and the success. I don't think we need to talk to you too much about mindset and as a leader and in Plexus and all that. But I think what I was trying to do is kind of drill down to what's standing in the way of you being super bold and open with what you have to offer, what you hold in your hands for every person that you bring on and make them feel excited about it.
Right.
So I hope that's a track that can help you.
Thank you.
One thought that I had was, so it's really quite a gift that you have access to all of these intimidating people that don't need the money. It's not super fun in general for me. It's not super fun to be working with these like people who are desperate for the money and don't have a lot of connections and a lot of resources, or maybe they have a real bad poverty mindset issue. And here you are with like just a wealth of people who are successful. They know how to do well in business. They have connections, they have influence. I mean, if you really think about it, those are all the things that you would probably write down on a dream team list.
Right.
And I love how honest you are with yourself and with us. Like you have just a level of like willingness to be vulnerable in that way. But I think that you're spot on with digging a little bit into that intimidation that you feel and ask yourself, what am I making it mean about me if so-and-so my son's doctor friend or whatever comes back to me and says, I don't really need the money. So if someone were to say that to you, are you attaching some meaning about yourself to that? Or are you feeling like, okay, well here I just offered them something silly, or they think I'm silly, or I don't know what it might
Probably.
be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just everything about them that makes them intimidating to you is what would make them amazing at this. And just a little tip, like for you to kind of just make it part of your daily mode of operation with people that you get started for the products, just start pointing out to them what about them would make them so amazing at the business. Yeah. Versus putting yourself in this position of like, hey, would you maybe want to, work with me or do an event with me? But maybe just daily being like, hey, Dr. So-and-so, by the way, this thing about you would make you amazing at Plexus. Like just kind of pointing those things out. It's a little more fun that way. Mm-hmm. And it puts you I think it puts you in a little more position of like, I'm speaking powerful things out to you and speaking blessing over you versus asking something of you that feels really vulnerable. Yeah. I had a couple other questions for you.
I like you mentioned that, Carissa, because that's actually something I had jotted down here and forgot to bring up, is that thing of reminding people, like if you think they're amazing, and maybe that's part of what intimidates you, tell them what you see in them. Mm-hmm. And then maybe I'm thinking too, are there professionals in our team, maybe, that you could send video testimonials or even diamond documentaries of something that you feel is more maybe relatable to them, that they would feel like they want to be a part of, in some way, that
Mm-hmm.
would send them to make them think, oh, that's what it is about.
Right. No, that's a great idea.
But the thing is that you're always going to act in accordance with what you believe. So if you believe, like, I only sign up people who want the products, like they don't really want the business, then this, everybody on this call has probably taught their team this, but like, I still do it too. And so if you kind of just fundamentally believe that, like, I scoot everyone in the door, I sign them up, I don't want them falling off the hook, so to speak. So I'm going to get them signed up, get them on their, 109 or 209 pack. And, I'm not really good at getting people who want the business. Then, like, you're going to act in accordance with that. And
Right.
so if you start to shift that belief and go, I have all these successful people in my circle, and they may not know it yet, but this business is incredibly perfect for them. It is the time freedom they have been looking for, or the creative outlet they've been looking for, or the circle community culture that they are desperately in need of. If you kind of are operating out of that belief, then it's going to just occur to you. You're in conversation with Dr. So-and-so, and it's just going to pop into your mind like, oh my gosh, by the way, like, you probably know 5 people that would love this 21 hard reset that we're doing this month. You want me to help you get the word out? It's just going to occur to you to, like, think of that kind of stuff to say. But if in the back of your mind, you're like, this is what I really believe about everybody that I sign up, then it just kind of shows in your actions.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
I have a couple of questions on the retention stuff. Do you have an assistant?
I do.
You do? Oh, good. Okay. In a lot of ways, you remind me of Jordan Roddenberry, because you're kind of such a rock star on the IPAs. And one time I remember her saying to me in a text, my assistant is literally going to do everything, and I'm just going to bring her the people. It really resonated with me. And I wonder if there's more that you could be having your assistant do for you, so that you can just keep bringing the people, and that person can make sure that they are being cared for well. And so one example for me, I started realizing a couple of years ago, I really am genuinely so thankful for my bread and butter wholesale people that just order from me. And now I get to be even more thankful, even if they're like 52 PV people. But how often, like you said, once they say, no, I'm not really interested in going silver, do you then kind of shut down and maybe not remember to touch base with them very often because they're happily on their 2 products or whatever? But a couple of years ago, I started having my assistant help me send out quarterly cards. So that might be a little retention tip for you.
Okay. That's good.
That these just like consistent buyers, I just call them my happy buyers. Most of them get a card from me every quarter where I just lavish them with appreciation. And I'm just like, I am seriously so thankful for you. You have no idea what your consistent orders mean to my family. You have no idea what this means to me, to Chris, to our kids. We're so thankful for you. And then 3 months later, they're hearing from me again. Oh my gosh, I'm seriously so thankful for you. You're still ordering. Like, so I don't know if you do anything like that.
I do not do that. And that's a great idea. I do a little bit of follow-up in that way with cards, but not like I should.
Well, and I don't have to do a lot of work with it. I just have to come up with the sincere wording, and then she's the one keeping track of who's ordering and sending them out and keeping track of their addresses and stuff. So it's very little actual legwork for me. But I get so many more texts from these people. Where
Yeah.
this is where like you get to just work your magic, because it's like she's helping me make sure they're not falling through the cracks. And then they're texting me, oh, I got your sweet card this week. You're so welcome. I love supporting your business. I'm like, oh, and then I'm just staying in touch. But that's where I think she can take care of some of the humdrum, and then you can just like shine in your gifting when these people are in better contact with you.
Yeah. That's good. That's a great idea.
Thought of that. What else did I write down? Okay, we've talked about this a lot. Do you post about the business?
I do. I don't know. I was just thinking about it today. Like, I remember someone from Jordan's team, actually, can't think of her name off the top of my head, but she talked about how she posted about the business every day for 30 days. Remember hearing that call recently? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Her name was, but
Chandler.
and I kept, yes, Chandler. And I was like, oh, that is such a great idea. I need to do that. And I've done I've posted a few times a week, but more than I had been. And the truth is, when I post about things like getting my car or taking the trip or whatever, I do get, people do respond, but I just don't, I'm not doing that enough. Not doing that enough.
I think I feel like I've repeated this so much, but it appeals to me so much when I notice people are posting about what they love about the business, and it's not the box of here's my paycheck, here's my car, here's my trip. So
yeah,
it's just a level of awareness to start jotting down like, oh, I love this about my business, or I love this about our team, and be like, I'm going to post about that, next time I post or whatever. I just saw that question. You want me to speak to that right now, Megan? Okay. So Iris, when did you get an assistant? I feel like I need one, but I don't know if I can afford it or if I have earned it. I feel like I should be able to reach diamond without one. Oh my goodness. What a loaded statement. Excuse me. So you're a mom, right, Iris? Okay. So you have the hardest full-time job in the world already before you even add Plexus into the scenario. So I sort of feel like even just regular moms need an assistant. The Proverbs 30 wonderful woman had servants. And now you're talking about adding in a business too. And so, yes, I think you deserve and have earned help. I personally, to me, everything is a trade-off. Everything is a trade-off. And so when I hit Ruby, I felt like what my business needed in order to keep growing and for things not to be falling through the cracks was more than I was willing to trade off when it came to time with my family and my kids. And so I thought I could hire childcare to give myself more time to send product instruction emails out and to send follow-ups and all this, or I could hire everything on the list of Plexus stuff that doesn't bring me joy. Like I was saying to Angie, like whatever your magic zone is, whatever is your gifting, everything else can probably be delegated, especially if it sucks away all your joy. But yeah, it was about Ruby for me that I was like, okay, I am seeing that in order to keep growing, more of me is required than I'm willing to give. And instead of hiring out the kiddos, I'm going to hire out the product instruction emails. So I actually hired an assistant at Ruby. And I am always shocked by how many diamonds I hear from that have not taken that step yet. And it's scaling. It's like in order to scale, you have to bring in a crew. You hit a ceiling where you cannot scale when you're only trading your own time to work. You can't scale beyond a certain point. You only have so much bandwidth and so much time. And so, yeah, I feel like in order to scale, you do have to be able to do that. Did that hit what you wanted me to hit, Megan or Brenda?
Iris, one thing to remember, well, anyone here, my husband and I had to learn the hard way before Plexus in business, is sometimes your investments are not all about an actual financial payback. Sometimes they're about a peace of mind and a freedom of time. And so to me, like Megan said, she had help pre-Plexus. I hired and helped many years before Plexus. And sometimes I felt guilty about it, but then I would look at the end of the day, the clean house, and I could just sit down with my kids and have such a happy spirit. I'm like, yeah, that was worth $100, you know? So it just is how you look at money and how you look at trade-offs and how you look at your time. You are worth so much, and you're worth so much happier to your children than you are stressed to your children. And so pay for your peace of mind and pay for some happiness.
It can start small too. It doesn't have to be where you go spend a lot of money up front. But like Carissa had hired out those emails, which I think at that level, it was a certain percentage of her Ruby income, right? And so I feel like it's very trackable percentage wise. Like even at gold, I tell people, like, if you're a busy mom having like, figure out a way. Maybe it isn't where you're actually like spending money, but you're finding a way to trade. Or maybe there's a mother-in-law or someone in your life, a little angel fairy person that is willing to come in. I mean, it can look a lot of different ways, but I would say to every person on this call, consider this. Don't wait till you think that you have hit the magic rank that you can now afford or whatever, justify it in your mind, because it is. We don't have a brick and mortar business like other businesses. So hiring out certain things done that don't bring you joy can be massively income producing for you, because you're actually working within your zone of genius, doing the things that bring you joy, that you have energy doing, that you love doing, and then you let someone else handle, like pre-scheduling posts in an event you're going to do on Thursday, or creating content, graphics. Like, I've offloaded so much to my assistant. She'll even send happy birthday messages to my messenger people, and she'll send, anyways, all that. Think of what you can delegate. And I can also pop a little, like a sheet of like assistant list for you to think through, like what could be offloaded to somebody else, a task that anybody can do, so that you can do what only you can do in your business and free up more time. Anyways, that was a little rabbit trail, but I think it's worth mentioning on this call with you leaders.
Yes, just to answer Bethany's question really quick, things like pulling things, what you need from reports, customer drip care, things that aren't getting done, like Carissa mentioned, thankful notes to your people. Those would be some of the top things I think that you would find to be hugely helpful. I mean, I know Iris recently hired her husband just to pull reports, because that's a big deal. So yeah, all that not fun stuff.
Write-offable as well, guys.
And we can all relate with, it is hard to teach someone to do something. It takes time on the front end. Megan, you're probably the best to speak to this, because you do such a good job posting about teaching your kids to do things, and it's way more work and it's way more time. So it's an investment. We have to invest if we're going to scale. And that's true with any business. You have to, if you're not, you might be investing money or upfront time or training, but that's what happens when you have a professional business. You have to invest some upfront training and time. My assistant handwrites the notes, Gretchen. So Sherry and Cassie are on the call, and they probably know when Betsy is handwriting their notes, but they also know my voice and my wordy ways very well. So they know they're my words.
Sometimes I've done like a pre-written message that we'll put out on a postcard. So that does save my assistant's hand, but there is something sweet about handwritten notes. And I also am aware that my handwriting is recognizable. I mean, people know, if they know us, they know our handwriting. So sometimes I'll just pull a short list of people that I want to handwrite the notes to, and then let her handle the rest of them, So that's another thought too. If you have some close friends, and you'd be like, I feel like it'd be more meaningful if they get actually handwritten note from me. But it's all. Okay, swinging back to Angie, do you have any other questions, or do you feel like there is enough things to chew on for you to make some shifts and pivots with where you're at, just to kind of recap what they've asked you about?
Yes, I do. I am just mulling over that intimidation word hard and heavy because I know it's truth. I struggle with a few things there. So that's one of the big things that I'm really going to work on. Also, I love the idea about following up with those wholesalers that Carissa gave. And I love Brenda's idea about finding out two things that Brenda mentioned, finding out about my silvers, like what my percentage is, because I'm way harder on myself than I guess probably than I have to be. But I know that last year when I looked, I wasn't as bad as I thought. So fingers crossed when I check it this time around, it won't be as bad. But also, what was the other thing? I'm outside and I can't see very good out here, guys. So let me look at my notes real quick.
You were one of the top developers of the year last year. I remember that. So it's not that you're not developing anybody, because you are. So
that's
just
yes.
as a reminder.
One other thing did pop to my mind for Angie.
Okay.
How long have you been in the business with us?
Well, I joined as a wholesaler in April of 2015, so it's almost 7 years, and I started working
it was
in like June.
So you're a great developer, Megan just said. One thing that I'm learning is that when I'm in heavy activity, it's just that everything seems so basic and like so obvious to me. And it's tough to be aware of, like, people need to be taught what I'm doing. And the people that you feel like you've taught it to everybody for 7 years, like you just are going to feel like you're repeating yourself. So like when you have a day where you bang out like 15 new reach outs or something, is it occurring to you to turn around and do a quick live and just kind of go through, like, and here's what I did, here's how I came up with who to talk to, here's what I said to them that I got a good response with. That just hit me hard, like this year, that I it's not obvious to everybody what comes so naturally and obvious to you.
I think that's a huge part of it. And what one of you mentioned, I think Carissa, you said about Megan, is that she's so good at teaching her kids how to do the things that I'm working on that point, as far as I've always been that mom who it's just easier for me to do it, or I'll just get, instead of teaching my kids. And I kind of feel the same way sometimes with this, I guess. I don't think about that, but as we're talking about it, it's reminding me that's probably the posture that I have, is that I'll just do it, And I remember when we had more coaching with the, I don't know, somebody that was coaching us when we became senior Ruby or Emeralds or something. And he wanted me to talk first and tell him all about Plexus. And he said, you're making yourself an expert. And so that's why, and so that's kind of, I do it for them. I mean, I have people on my team that work, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying, like, my level ones that I'm bringing in, that's kind of, what they're doing. And a lot of times they'll send people and go, oh, just let Angie tell you everything. She knows everything about it. And I'm like, ooh, I've created the wrong attitude in people, because now they don't want to know anything about it. They just want me to do all the work, which, I don't mind doing that, but it's not how I'm going to continue to move forward. And I realize that.
Yeah. I had a quick thought about the intimidation thing. So you can either continue to sign all these easy ads via wholesale. And I'm speaking to myself here too, because I find that way easier in a sense, getting people started on the products, versus if you do the hard thing first and you recruit for the business, you bring these wealthy, successful people in, but neglect to really be vulnerable and share with them, like, you would be great at this. You should do it with me. It would be so fun. I can see you. Let's go on some trips. Like, what are your thoughts? That vision casting and that kind of vulnerability piece on the front end with those people. That's really when you recruit the right people, so to speak, that's often the hardest piece, because once you get them in, get them started, then like they're the type of people that'll take it and roll. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I remember Jessica, and maybe Brenda, you were talking about this too, like recruiting people better than us, or like that kind of intimidate us, or that are just more successful, or like that's the hardest piece of recruiting great people. I'm not saying that we can't develop other people either, but like, I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, I'm looking at Jessica. She has these multiple jewel legs, different legs, but she was bold in the beginning, even before she probably had the whole vision for what it could be. I don't know. But I don't know. That's just something that's on my brain. Like, when we're intimidated by someone, then we need to really rise up and be excited and bold, because you never know also how the business can change their life in ways that maybe we as wrongly assume they don't need the finances, but successful people are always game for another income stream. Like, you know, so I don't know if that made any sense whatsoever, but I don't know, that's what I think of when I'm like, there's like a scary person. But to double down, because I have some people like that in my circle right now, and I'm like, I want them on my team. And it's a conscious effort to reach back out to them and be like, hey. And I just messaged this girl, and I said, if you ever decide to jump back into network marketing, I would love to have you on my team. Like, it was hard for me to message her that, but I was like, someone is going to get her, and she's going to be awesome at whatever business she joins, and I want her on my team. So I told her that. I mean, she messaged back like, oh, sweet, thanks. I was like, but I think we have to take those bold steps and message what we think, what we see in people. I remember Carrie telling me, she's like, I knew you'd be a diamond when I signed you. And I'm like, why did you not tell me that? You would have saved me so much, like mental stuff. Cause like it takes a while sometimes for you to see it for yourself. But I think if you have someone breathing that belief into you, into me, but she said that she was intimidated to tell me that because she thought she'd scare me away. You know, but I don't think it's going to scare people away. At the very minimum, it's going to encourage them that we think so highly of them, right? They'll feel honored, I think. Anyways.
No, that's good. Thank you. I did want to say real quick, I thought there was one more thing I want to say about, and thank Brenda, the onboarding. That is something that I have been, it's been mulling around in my mind for some time, is making sure that I have a really good plan for that. So thank you for bringing that back up and back around to me.
And I just want to say, ding, ding, ding. I think you really hit a nail on the head. Also, when you mentioned about kind of doing stuff for your team, because I mean, that was a great observation. So something I want you to keep in mind, just like Megan saying, you speak belief into people that, hey, I think you'd be amazing at this. Once they're in your team, especially silver and up, do that for them. Give them chances for the spotlight. Give them chances to step in and speak on a Zoom, to post in events. Let them shine. Even if they're not going to do it right. I have had people on my team who have done some kind of not very good graphics, but I let them do it anyway because I want them to be the one to build them their belief that they can do this. And so I'm kind of one of those people too. I'd rather do it myself, and so it's done the way I want it. But having 11 kids took a lot of that out of me because I learned to delegate a long time ago. So I just want to encourage you in that. Let people shine. Give them the chances. And it's like, whew, giving them wings to fly. And it's such a relief when they help you carry the load.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate all of this. And I got some good notes, even though I scribbled it because it was kind of in the dark, but I appreciate it so much.
Well, you were fun to coach. You were awesome.
Oh, thanks.
Do you gals have anything else? I see we're right at 9 o'clock almost. So yay for us. Or anyone else here have a quick question that's just burning?
I know Sherry was ready tonight, and I wonder if just you saying yes and being ready was the lesson. Because I asked her about being coached and she was like, yes. And then 2 minutes later, she was like, I said yes before I gave myself a chance to overthink it. So maybe
I think that was a huge,
go ahead.
it was,
Did some things resonate with you, Sherry, tonight that were takeaways for you?
yes. And, but you asked me and my brain went blank. But yes, I did have things that I really, and I jotted down some notes.
Well, I have to say that Senior Ruby Jewel coaching has been one of my favorite parts of this, for sure. So it's been so good to hang with you guys, and there's something about being among your peers that's cool. So thank you all for being on, cheering you on. It's gonna be an awesome December. So we're here. Seriously, if something that we talked about tonight you want to further, bring up with us, I don't mind you picking my brain. I trust you guys to not be big needy people that are going to be messaging me all day long, but we're here for you for some of those things. All right. It was great. We'll say good night.